guys. Okay, so I'm not going to turn the entire discussion of this chapter into an I called it moment, but yeah, I do like how I kind of called it, because right from the jump, this chapter immediately shows to us that everything Shura is doing is in his pursuit of Zenith, even to the point of threatening to use the Oleg system. It's all for the sake of the Yaoi Cosmos, to protect it from Zenith. And I like how the chapter emphasizes Shura doesn't want to do these things. He doesn't want to kill Zenith. He doesn't want to even use the Oleg system if he's going to feel like he's going to be forced to do it. But as Emperor and ruler of Yaoi Cosmos, and after what happened to Foresta, he feels himself duty-bound to do it. Like, he's going to do what's necessary in order to protect the Yaoi Cosmos, even if it means making the tough decisions, as he says. Like, even hammering it all home to the point I talked about last week of the lives that have been lost already because of Zenith's actions. And I like how through all of this, like, the best part about this, Shiki does not have an answer. He is completely, even though some of it is played up for comedy, he's completely stuck. He does not know how to respond to any of what Shura is saying, because he sees Shura's conviction. He sees that Shura is willing to go the lengths in order to protect, however much reprehensible we may see Shura's actions in this moment. You can see that he is driven by a desire to protect people, and that for however much Shura might be, he might be taking the same actions and considering the same extreme measures as his counterpart, Shiki realizes there is more noble purpose behind this Shura's actions, and even more so that I like with Shiki just being so gobsmacked, not able to respond to Shura. I like how it actually takes Laguna and the others arriving to even ease the pressure on the situation, to even begin finding some kind of common ground with Shura. Like, Shiki was just, I'm sorry to say, but Shiki was absolutely useless during this whole encounter, and I like that, and I'm hoping that this is a wake-up call to Shiki, that it's not wrong to pursue the peaceful route, but it's something else entirely to pursue it in order to pursue it through basically reckless abandon, to basically just jump straight in saying, I'm going to resolve this peacefully. No, that's not the way. You need to actually understand the situation and to understand the circumstances in order to actually do in order to achieve that, Shiki. And since coming to Universe Zero, like, Shiki has done so much without thinking of the consequences, and I just hope he comes away from this realizing that. That's my one thing I hope he at least realizes with this chapter. Now, with that said, we do got to talk about the big reveal, which is that after everyone is gathered together from both factions, of both the Shiki faction and the Shura faction, Zenith makes his presence known to all and tells them that it wasn't of his own volition that he destroyed Foresta. It was by the hands of one Dr. Mueller that he destroyed Foresta, and this guy really is just the most vile cockroach of a villain, isn't he? Like, seriously, no matter what universe or timeline this guy's in, he is just an absolutely guaranteed to be an asshole, which I guess you can't fault him for being consistent in that regard, but yeah, just wow, dude, you really are just an asshole no matter where you are. But putting that aside, I'm a little bit mixed on this reveal, because on one hand, it's very on brand for the character, and it makes sense in that regard, but on the other hand, even though the reveal makes sense, there's a part of this that does feel like a tiny bit of an emotional cop-out. Like, to put it another way, it feels too easy of an answer in order to solve the whole mystery and situation regarding Zenith, although I guess the heart of it all, again, is Shiki needing to come to terms with the situation now and how to resolve it in his own way while still keeping in mind the lives lost and those that are screaming out for vengeance, no matter who's ultimately responsible for the deed. But it's like, again, I don't know, the whole thing of, like, absolving Zenith now and it being Mueller, it's one of those things that weirdly makes sense, but it feels like it needed a little more build up to it, or a little bit more time. Like, just something about the Mueller reveal felt out of place in this chapter for some reason. Also, I'm not gonna lie, for as much as I do appreciate getting to see Shura in this new perspective and new light, it is also a little uncomfortable, like it is a little uncomfortable seeing Juna being so openly lovey-dovey with Shura, knowing the abuse she suffered in the world we know at the hands of the Shura we know and the Shura we know, and it's one of those things that is a little hard to look past, regardless of differences in timeline or universe. Although I will admit I did still kind of giggle a little bit at the gag about Ijuna outing herself as a spy and everyone reacting very like gobsmacked at it. That was kind of funny, but yeah, as far as the whole I'm not gonna looking back on it, the whole Ajuna and it's just the whole Ajuna and Shura dynamic is a little bit weird. I'm not gonna lie about that. But okay. With all that said, though, one thing I want to talk about something I both liked, but also think is a little bit odd in this chapter, which is how quickly the Ocean Six got dusted by the Shining Stars. Now, this is one of those things where I think Mosh was trying to show us just how powerful the Shining Stars are when fully reunited, of all four of them, versus 3 Shining Stars plus Homura, who, while having time and again proved to be a capable fighter, when you get down to it, really was just a stand-in for Valkyrie. So, in that sense, I did like it. Although it is one of those things where I would have liked to see the fight itself, because it isn't exactly a good look for the Ocean Six, which I think is kind of leading to a bigger continuing problem I'm having with this arc, which is the pacing. There's a lot of moments where Majima has rushed through the story, likely because maybe he understands we have seen a lot of it before, but it's also done at the detriment of moments he could be expanding upon as well. So this arc does have a very interesting give and take in that regard, and the take is definitely more noticeable. Although the one thing I do still keep in the back of my mind is that in a way, where we're at right now is kind of the closing parts of the Eden Zero crew reunion arc, like the first major arc of the Universe Zero saga. So now that we're more or less just tying up loose ends beyond this point, it does make me wonder how Mashima's going to bring all these moving pieces together and how he's going to make them work. Because after all this, I imagine aside from an initial encounter with Eden's One, we're basically headed straight for the Yukino Cosmos after this, which and where we'll meet Rachel, which my expectations there is I'm hoping is where we're going to get a more in-depth understanding of the more radical elements of the church, which would only make sense as there would have to be a crux of a conflict with when we meet Rachel, and I think that whole the religion going on, the religious zealotry, I think that is probably going to be a core focus of this, and we're going to get to see what that was like. I'm also kind of hoping we get to see Rebecca's grandmother, because I'm interested in learning a little bit more about her as well, and just maybe getting Rebecca's kind of maybe just getting a little bit, not only bonding more with, getting kind of a pseudo more time to bond with her mother, but I would like to see her actually kind of bond with her grandmother as well a bit too. But yeah guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe from my Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just shiver. And guys, Dark Knight of Anime signing off. Later everyone.